Well, the Giants' season is over after the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, but our coverage of the New York Football Giants is only getting started. We're going to put out videos every single day in the offseason on the latest Giants news and rumors. No other channel is going to cover free agency or the NFL draft like we are, so subscribe so you never miss a video when it comes to Big Blue. You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. An upsetting day here on a Monday, as we're not going to do a preview and we're not going to talk about the Giants' upcoming opponent in the NFC Championship. We're actually going to be taking a look at the offseason in today's video, and I'm going to highlight my 6-step perfect offseason plan. The Giants do this, they're going to be back in the playoffs, and they are going to be winning playoff games and competing for the Lombardi Trophy. Let's start with an outlook of what this offseason is going to hold and all of the details. The Giants will pick 25th in the NFL draft. They have 9 picks in total, including 4 top 100 picks. So you can do some damage, and you should be able to get at minimum 2 or 3 starters with those top 4 picks in the top 100 overall in the NFL draft. As of right now, the Giants have the 3rd most cap space in the National Football League with about $54.2 million. That is subject to change with extensions, re-signing your own free agents, and potentially cutting some of the players on your roster. We'll talk about that. And the Giants have 18 unrestricted free agents this offseason. I want to stick on the unrestricted free agents real quick. 10 of them are high-profile players that really contributed a lot to this football team. Daniel Jones, it's going to be interesting. We'll talk about him and Saquon Barkley coming up in a second. Sterling Shepard, Giants have an interesting decision to make on Shep. We know the injuries are starting to catch up with him, but is he still worth being on this roster? He was a great hype man. I love seeing him on the sideline. I'd take it back for a minimum contract. Then you got 2 of your top receivers in Darius Slayton and Richie James. I think those are both solid players, but they can't be top 4 receivers on your depth chart going into next year. 2 interior offensive linemen that got starting snaps this year. Nick Gates and your starting center, John Feliciano. Jahad Ward, he was a strong and instrumental piece to this defensive front. Fabian Morrow was your cornerback 2 all season long. And Julian Love, he was great. He was a captain. He said he wants to be back, but he's got to do what's best for him. The Giants got to bring a lot of these guys back. But as we know in the NFL, it's not a year where you build and build and build, a league where you build every single year, but it's a year-to-year league. 50% of the roster is going to be new going into this season. And before I give you my offseason plan, I just want to look back one more time because it was such a great season. I mean, I'm 28 years old, born in 1994. This was maybe the 3rd best season of my Giants fandom. It was incredible. From the Titans game to the Packers to the Ravens to clinching against the Colts, beating the Washington Commanders on Sunday Night Football, winning a playoff game. This season was awesome. And if you enjoyed this season and you are proud of the New York Football Giants, I want you to go down right now and like this video. Today's Giants Now video is sponsored by Magic Spoon, the revolutionary cereal that's changing the game. Say goodbye to sugary processed cereals and hello to delicious, nutritious options that will power you through your day. Magic Spoon is the perfect choice for anyone looking to start the new year off on the right foot, with a variety of flavors to choose from, like cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. You'll never get bored, and with only 140 calories per serving, it's a guilt-free breakfast option. But the best part, Magic Spoon is packed with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar, making it the perfect choice for those following a keto or gluten-free diet. And with a 100% happiness guarantee, you have nothing to lose by giving it a try. Order your own personalized Magic Spoon variety pack today and save $5 by using code CHAT at magicspoon.com/chat or by scanning the QR code on screen. Trust us, you won't regret it. Start your day off right with Magic Spoon. I love starting my day off with Magic Spoon. I've got the peanut butter flavor right here. I love it. It's just like the peanut butter cereals we ate as a kid. It's fire. I love eating it. Makes me feel good about myself. Get started today. Go to magicspoon.com/chat and use code CHAT for $5 off. Let's now take a look at a perfect Giants offseason. I think the first thing you got to do, the first order of business, is unfortunately cut Kenny Golladay. It just did not work out. The 4-year, $72 million contract that he signed with Dave Gettleman, it just did not work out. Didn't work out with the Giants this year and Brian Daboll. It didn't work out last year with Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. So let's take a look at the financials of what it would look like. If the Giants release Kenny Golladay prior to June 1st, his base salary for this upcoming season is $13.2 million. You would have a dead cap hit of $14.7 million if you release him prior to June 1st, but you would have a cap savings of $6.7 million. So essentially you get $6.7 million in available cap space to use in free agency prior to June 1st. If you sign him or release him prior to June 1st, you wipe your hands with him. You don't have any dead cap in 2024. But if you release him post June 1st, which means you release him after June 1st, you can't use any of the money you use to waive him or release him in NFL free agency. You pretty much use that money to roll over into next year and sign your rookies. He would have a dead cap hit in 2023 of $7.9 million. You'd save $13.5 million if you released him post June 1st, but you'd have a dead cap hit of almost $7 million in 2024. So if you release him after June 1st, yeah, you get more cap savings for this year, but you can't use it in free agency, and you also have a cap hit looming for the 2024 offseason. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Cut him pre-June 1st. He should be the first person that's cut from the New York Football Giants. I don't want to bang on Kenny Golladay too much. I thought that he was still a serviceable piece as a run blocker. We know he didn't live up to the bill. We know that he was not a good signing by Dave Gettleman, but just wipe your hands. Wash your hands with him. Cut him. Save the money you do and use that money to go get another starter because you get about $7 million if you do, and that is plenty to go get a serviceable player that's actually going to make this football team better. The second order of business on this perfect Giants offseason plan, I think you got to bring back Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. I'm not doing everything I can to bring them back no matter what, but I think that you can get them both on reasonable deals. When you look at the highest paid quarterbacks per year, Daniel Jones probably wants to be somewhere in this 1 to 10 category, with Rodgers at the top at $50.3 million per year and Kirk Cousins, who he just beat on the road in the playoffs, at $35 million. Look, if you beat the Eagles, I think you would have been on this list, but you didn't. You didn't play that well, and I think you're back down to somewhere to the 11 to number 18 range. If I'm Daniel Jones, I look at Jared Goff, I look at Carson Wentz, I look at Matt Ryan and Ryan Tannehill, all making more than $29.5 million. That's what I'm asking for if Daniel Jones. And if I'm Joe Schoen, a perfect contract for Daniel Jones is 3 years, $90 million. $30 million, I'll give you $50 guaranteed, but I want an easy opt-out after year 2 with no dead cap. If you're bad in year 1, you're bad in year 2, or you're great in year 1, okay in year 2, whatever it is. I want to be able to have an out after 2 years to where if I decide you're not the guy, I can move on and I don't have any dead cap hit. I think 3 years at $30 million per, 3 years, $90 million is a very fair deal for Daniel Jones. I think that's a perfect deal for Jones and the New York Football Giants. That's what I would offer, DJ. But let's focus on Saquon Barkley now, a guy that's also going to be a free agent. He said he does not want to reset the market for running backs, but he was also offered a contract of about $12 million during the Giants bye week this year, and he turned it down. We'll get to that in a second. McCaffrey makes 16. Look, I don't really feel comfortable paying a running back any more than $12 million. The only contract on this list that I think that's really worked out, that's over $12 million. I mean, Derrick Henry's been great. Nick Chubb's been great. Zeke's about to get cut. Alvin Kamara hasn't rushed for over 1,000 yards one time in his career. McCaffrey's a good player, but that roster is extremely loaded. It's always tricky when you want to pay a running back. Some people don't like Dalvin Cook. Look, if Barkley's turning down $12 million, I'm not sure how much more the Giants and higher the Giants are willing to go. $12 million is really the most I would want to pay him. If I can get him on a 3-year deal, $36 million, 4 years, $48 million, that's pushing it. $12 million is really the highest I want to go. I want to bring Saquon Barkley back, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Signing a running back to a second contract with a lucrative amount of money, it's sketchy. It is. It really prohibits the rest of the way that you can build out this roster. I'd go 12.5, maybe 13 million, but that's the absolute most I would pay Saquon Barkley per year. I want to ask you though, how much are you paying Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley per year? I'll go Jones 25 to 30 million, and I'll go Saquon Barkley anywhere from 12 to 13 million, but I want to take the pulse of all the real ones watching right now. Let me know, how much would you pay Barkley and Jones per year? The Giants have a lot of holes to fill on this roster, but I think the most glaring one is the wide receiver position. The Giants need a number one wide receiver. What about trading for DeAndre Hopkins, a player who wants out of Arizona, and Arizona said we want to trade him? It's fallen apart for DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona. And look, the Giants need a number one wide receiver. What did Joe Schoen and Brandon Beane do when they were in Buffalo and they had a young quarterback? They went out and got Stephon Diggs for Josh Allen. Get that young quarterback a number one wide receiver that he can grow with. D-Hop may be 30 years old, but he's still a damn good football player. And limited action this year. He had 64 grabs for 717 yards, 11 yards per catch, and 3 touchdowns. And that's with him missing 7 games. He did that in 10 football games this year. But he's been great his whole career. Go look at what he did in 2018 and 2019 and 2020. 115 grabs, 104 grabs, 115 grabs, over 1,400 yards 3 straight years. This guy is an absolute menace on the outside. I think he'd be a great number one wide receiver for a guy like Daniel Jones. He's a great route runner. He's got one of the biggest catch radiuses in the National Football League. And sometimes you got to throw those 50-50 balls. But with Hopkins, they're really like 80-20 balls. Get him a spot, get him the rock with some positioning to do so, and he's going to convert. I want to ask you, though, what do you think of this trade idea? Second round pick. It's a lot, but at the end of the day, you're getting a top 10, top 5 receiver when healthy in the NFL and DeAndre Hopkins. You got to get better there. If it's not Hopkins, you got to go out and get somebody else like Brandon Ayuk or T. Higgins, or maybe invest in the free agent market, which we'll show you in a second, which really isn't all that good. Would you make this trade? Type A for accept, type D for decline. The reason I'm making that deal is because there's really nobody in free agency that I really want. We're not including Odell Beckham Jr. on this list because he didn't play in 2022. He is also a free agent, so if you want to sign him, you could do that. Jacoby Myers, he's okay. He's a wide receiver 3 in my opinion. Mecole Hardman, he's okay. Allen Lazard is fine. Juju Smith-Schuster is decent. And DJ Chark can't really stay healthy. If I know this is the wide receiver free agency market, and I know I don't pick until number 25 in the NFL draft, am I going to find a wide receiver 1? I don't know. That's why I'm going all in on trading for DeAndre Hopkins and getting DJ, that top dog, on the outside. You also got to really sign maybe even a couple starting interior offensive line. Go back and watch that Eagles game. You don't even have to. Daniel Jones couldn't breathe back there. He was under pressure. He was under duress. I like John Feliciano. He's an average center. Nick Gates is a cool story. He's average. You got to get an elite center or an elite left guard. And there are some really good ones in free agency. These are the top interior offensive linemen free agents. Ben Powers, one of the best pass blockers in the National Football League. Isaac Seumalo. I don't know his name, but he's a damn good football player. PFF ranked him as the number 8 interior offensive lineman in the National Football League. It'd also be great to steal a starter from the Philadelphia Eagles. Ethan Postick, he's the 3rd ranked center in the NFL according to PFF. Dalton Reisner, he's solid, and so is Wes Schweitzer from the Washington Commanders. Look, you have to get another interior offensive lineman that can start and beef up this offensive line. We need to get back to dominating in the trenches on both sides of the football. You sign one of these guys, you're going to be able to do that. Because look, Andrew Thomas is great. I hope Evan Neal makes a step. After that, you don't really have anybody. I know the 2 guards you took in the draft this year were hurt. You got to get better at the offensive line. We need to get back to dominating in the trenches and blow people off the ball. That way Saquon Barkley can have more chunk plays. You also got to get better on defense and absolutely improve your off-ball linebackers. Jalen Smith was a good pickup. He's not very good. Landon Collins was a fun story. He's not that guy anymore. Look, Gerard Davis was our starting inside linebacker, and he was on the Lions practice squad 3 weeks ago. You have to get a game changer at that position. Watch the San Francisco 49ers play. With their 2 beasts at the inside linebacker spot, they're able to be a completely different defense than everyone in the NFL. And these are the top linebackers in free agency. Avonte David, David Long, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Jermaine Pratt. One of these guys needs to be signed by the New York Football Giants. I like Levante David. He's a little bit older. Tremaine Edmonds, he's a hell of a football player. I would love to get a guy like Tremaine Edmonds. I also like TJ Edwards. But if I had to pick anybody, it'd be Edmonds. 6'4", 230, 40 pounds, sideline to sideline, could defend the pass a little bit. He gets downhill, and he's a difference maker in stopping the run. That's the guy that I would go out and target. You also have to get better in the secondary. Fabian Morrow was a cool story. He can't be your number 2 corner. I like Nick McLeod if he's on my practice squad. You need to get better at that outside corner position so you could pair someone with Adoree Jackson, and Wink Martindale can get more creative in his blitz schemes, because right now it's very vanilla and he has to leave a lot in the backfield. These are the top cornerback free agents. I love Jamel Dean. James Bradbury's not coming back, but I want to just put him on the graphic so you knew who the top guys are. Cam Sutton's a solid player. I like Jonathan Jones a lot, but I always worry about signing a player from the New England Patriots, wondering if it's him or the Belichick defense. And Marcus Peters, he's a very aggressive corner. He played with Wink Martindale. If I had to choose one of these guys, it'd be Jamel Dean. But at the end of the day, whether it's in the NFL draft or an NFL free agency, the Giants need to go out and sign another corner. They have a lot of holes to fill. We know that they need more receivers. We know they need interior offensive line help. They need an off-the-ball backer, They need another corner. These are actually my biggest needs for this team right now. More offensive playmakers. I don't think just trading for DeAndre Hopkins gets the job done. I think you need to draft another receiver, and I think you need to get another veteran. I want to have Hopkins, Wan'Dale Robinson, someone, and then Isaiah Hodgins as my 4th receiver. You need multiple playmakers. If it means getting another tight end and having Bellinger be your number 2 tight end, you need to get better. You need more interior offensive line help. You got to get a game-changing linebacker. It really makes your defense a different beast, and you're able to do so many different things. Cornerback 2, got to get better in that area. Giants have needs, but they were a damn good football team this year. The fact that you were a Final 8 team and the year 1 of a rebuild, hats off. I trust Brian Daboll, and I trust Joe Schoen to get this thing right. I'll ask you, though, what is the Giants' biggest need this offseason? You had to choose one thing. What would it be? Sound off for me in the comments. What is the Giants' biggest need this offseason? And also give me a follow over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. Like I said, the offseason's here, but we are just getting started here on the channel. Giants videos every single day on the latest news and rumors. You can also stay up to date with the G-Men over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. Give me a follow, and I'll give you a follow back.